Keanu rode his Harley-Davidson down the Florida coastal highway, 3 days into his journey from Los Angeles. This was his way of clearing his head between projects. Long stretches of asphalt. Wind. Sunday. No schedules or demands. Just him and the road. He stopped in small towns along the way. Ate at roadside diners. Slept in modest motels. Nobody recognized him behind the helmet and road dust. This was exactly what he needed. It was late afternoon when he rolled into Miami. Hadn't planned to stop here, but the motorcycle had started making a strange sound about an hour back. Nothing critical, but it needed attention. He searched on his phone for the nearest bike shop. Found a place 20 minutes away. Rode there. The mechanic checked the bike, older guy with grease-stained hands and a kind face. Well, bearings worn. I can order the part. Should be here tomorrow morning. Safe to ride further today? I wouldn't recommend it. Keanu nodded. All right, I'll stay overnight. Come back tomorrow. He booked a room at a nearby hotel. Nothing fancy. Clean place with Wi-Fi. Took a shower. Washed off the road dust. Changed into clean clothes. Black t-shirt, jeans, same leather jacket he'd been wearing the whole trip. Worn, well-traveled. His motorcycle boots were scuffed too. Comfortable, but definitely not new. He looked like a regular rider, which he was. Decided to take a walk. Explore the area. Miami in the evening was vibrant. Neon lights, palm trees, ocean breeze. He walked without direction. Enjoyed the anonymity. After 20 minutes, he passed an auto dealership. Huge building with glass walls. The sign read Prestigio Exotics, exclusive Lamborghini dealership Miami. The showroom was flooded with light. Gleaming supercars displayed like works of art. Aventador, Huracan, Urus. Each car worth at least $300,000. So much more. Keanu stopped. Looked through the window. He loved cars. Always had. Not necessarily owning them, but appreciating the engineering, the design, the craftsmanship that went into creating something so precise. He decided to go in, just to look. No intention to buy, just to appreciate. The door opened automatically. He stepped inside. The showroom was even more impressive inside. Polished marble floors. Modern lighting. 5 Lamborghinis displayed on the main floor. Each one perfect. Several salespeople stood near a back desk. 3 men, 1 woman. All in expensive suits. They looked at Keanu as he entered. Their expressions shifted. From professional smiles to something else. Assessment. Judgment. One salesperson, a young guy maybe 28, nudged another. They exchanged glances. Quiet laughter. The female salesperson rolled her eyes. Turned back to her computer. Keanu noticed, but didn't react. He was used to people underestimating him based on appearance. He approached an Aventador. Matte black. Beautiful machine. Leaned in to look through the window at the interior. The seats were red leather. Carbon fiber everywhere. The steering wheel looked like it belonged in a spaceship. The young salesperson, the one who'd been laughing, approached. His badge read Brad Miller, sales manager. He was tall, gel in his hair, expensive suit. Confidence bordering on arrogance. Hey buddy, Brad said. The tone was condescending. This isn't a used car lot. These cars start at $300,000. Maybe you'd be better off at the Toyota dealership down the road. He smiled. Not friendly. Mocking. The other salespeople snickered, watching the interaction like it was entertainment. Keanu straightened up. Met Brad Gage evenly. I'm just looking. Yeah, well, looking is free, but these cars are for serious buyers. People with real money. You know what I mean? The implication was clear. You don't look like you have real money. You don't belong here. Keanu could have walked away. Should have walked away. But something about the condescension stopped him. What if I want to buy right now? Brad laughed. Sure. But first, show me a bank statement. Proof of funds. We don't waste time with window shoppers. Bank statement. Yeah, you know what that is? Paper from a bank showing you have money. This car, he gestured at the Aventador, is $420,000. Cash. You got $420,000 lying around. The mockery was obvious. The other salespeople were openly laughing now. The female salesperson shook her head, but didn't intervene. Keanu looked at Brad for a long moment. Then around the showroom. Counted the cars. 5 on the main floor. Probably more upstairs or in the back. How many cars total do you have here? Why do you care? Curiosity. Brad sighed. Like explaining was tedious. 47 cars in inventory, including these on display, units upstairs, a few in service. What? Just interested. Thanks for your time. Keanu turned, walked toward the door. Brad called after him. Yeah, that's right. Come back when you have a real job. Laughter followed Keanu as he exited into the Miami evening. He walked down the street. His face was calm, but his mind was working. He wasn't angry. Not really. He was used to this kind of treatment when dressed casually. People made assumptions. Usually he let it slide. Life was too short to care about strangers' opinions. But something about this interaction stuck. The contempt. The public humiliation. The assumption that someone's worth was determined by their clothing. Their appearance. It was wrong. Systemically wrong. And maybe, just maybe, there was a way to address it. He pulled out his phone, called James Collins, his financial manager. They'd worked together for 15 years. James managed Keanu's investments, real estate, everything financial. James picked up after 3 rings. Keanu, hey, you still on a motorcycle trip? Yeah, stopped in Miami overnight. Listen, I need something done. Quickly. Sure. What do you need? There's a Lamborghini dealership here. Prestigio Exotics. I need to fly here. Tomorrow morning, if possible. And bring proof of funds. Checkbook. Whatever's needed to make a large purchase. You're buying a Lamborghini? I thought you loved your Harley. Not exactly. I need you to buy their inventory. The entire inventory. 47 cars. Silence. Then, you're joking. I'm not. Keanu, that's how much are we talking? They said cars start at $300,000. Let's say average price is $350. 47 cars. That's about $16.5 million. Maybe more. Maybe less. Find out the exact number when you get here. 16 million. On cars. On cars we're immediately donating. I'll explain later. Keanu, what happened? They treated me like shit. Assumed I couldn't afford to even be there. I want to buy their entire operation. Then give it away. Show them that money doesn't make you better than anyone else. That assumptions are dangerous. This is a very expensive lesson. It's an investment in something important. Trust me. A pause. Then, always. I'll catch the first flight in the morning. Meet where? The dealership. Let's say 10 a.m. See you then. After the call, Keanu did some research. Search on his phone for charities in Miami focused on vocational training. Mechanical training specifically. Found one. Miami Youth Auto Skills Program. A nonprofit teaching young people from low-income neighborhoods to be auto mechanics. Gave them real skills. Real career paths. He checked their website. They operated out of a modest facility. Trained about 50 students a year. Used donated tools, old cars for practice. Funding was limited, but the impact was real. Graduates found jobs. Supported families. Broke cycles of poverty. This was exactly the kind of program Keanu respected. Practical. Giving people tools to help themselves. Not just charity, but empowerment. He noted their contact information. Then searched for information about Prestigio Exotics. Found out who owned it. A company called Lux Automotive Group. Owned several high-end dealerships across Florida. Privately owned. The founder was a guy named Robert Preston. Multimillonaire. Made his fortune through aggressive sales tactics and high markups. He checked reviews of the dealership. Mixed. Some praised the selection, quality of cars. Others complained about arrogant staff, sales pressure, disrespectful treatment. Several reviews specifically mentioned issues similar to what Keanu experienced. They treated me like I didn't belong there. Staff is snobbish. If you don't look rich, they ignore you. Worst car buying experience ever. The arrogance is off the charts. The pattern was clear. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was culture. Exactly the kind of culture Keanu wanted to address. Keanu woke early the next morning. Went to the bike shop. The bearing was replaced. The bike ran perfectly. He paid the mechanic, thanked him, then rode back to his hotel. James was flying in at 8 a.m. They met in the hotel lobby. James carried a leather briefcase. Looked puzzled but ready. All right, James said. I'm here. I have proof of funds. Checkbook. Documents for wire transfer. What exactly are we doing? Keanu explained. Everything. The dealership. The contempt. The plan to buy the inventory. Donate it to charity. James listened. His expression shifted from puzzlement to understanding to respect. This is a good use of money. Unorthodox, but good. Can you make it work? If they're willing to sell, yes. I'll just offer to buy their entire inventory. Cash. Immediate transaction. Most dealerships won't refuse that. It's a dream. Instant cash infusion. Clear inventory. Make room for new units. Good. Let's do it. They drove to Prestigio Exotics in a car James had rented. Arrived at exactly 10 a.m. The dealership was open but quiet. A few customers browsing. Same staff from the night before, including Brad. James entered first. Keanu stayed outside, watching through the glass. Didn't want to be recognized yet. James was dressed in a sharp suit. Looked exactly like the kind of client the staff would respect. Brad noticed him immediately. Approached with a professional smile. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Prestigio Exotics. My name is Brad. How can I help you today? I'm here on behalf of a client. He's interested in making a purchase. A large purchase. Excellent. What model is he looking for? All of them. Brad laughed. Excuse me, what? My client wants to purchase your entire inventory. All 47 vehicles. Cash. Immediate transaction. Brad's laugh died. You're serious. Completely. I have proof of funds. I can wire transfer money today if we come to an agreement on price. Who here has authority to make such a deal? Brad hesitated. This was above his pay grade. I need to get my boss. Mr. Preston. He's the owner. Please do. Brad hurried to the back of the showroom. Used his phone. Nervous conversation. Within 5 minutes, a man in his 50s emerged. Robert Preston. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. The air of someone accustomed to success. He approached James. My name is Robert Preston. I own this dealership. Brad says you want to buy my inventory. That's correct. All 47 units? Yes. Robert studied James. May I ask why? My client is a collector. He wants to add to his collection, and he prefers to do things efficiently. A collector. Robert sounded skeptical. Who's your client? I can't disclose that until we finalize details. But I can show you proof of funds. Confirm we're serious. James opened his briefcase. Showed bank statements. Letters from financial institutions. All legitimate. Robert examined them. His expression shifted. This was real. All right, let's discuss numbers. They moved into a private office. Robert, James, and Brad, who tagged along, still trying to understand what was happening. Robert pulled inventory sheets. 47 units. Total sticker price is $16.3 million. That's full retail. For a wholesale purchase of this size, I could do $14.5 million. James made notes. My client will pay $15 million. Not a penny less. But there's a condition. Robert raised an eyebrow. What condition? We want immediate delivery. All cars transferred today. Titles processed today. No dilas. That's difficult. Paperwork takes time. Then hire additional staff. Pay overtime. Make it happen. My client isn't interested in waiting. Robert thought about it. $15 million. Immediate sale of his entire inventory. This was huge. Unprecedented. But why the rush? May I ask what your client plans to do with 47 Lamborghinis? That's his business. Are you selling the cars or not? A pause. Then we're selling. $15 million. Cars transferred today. They shook hands. James started the paperwork. Robert called his legal team. His finance team. Began the process. It would take hours but could be done. While the paperwork processed, Keanu entered the dealership. Quietly. Observing. Brad noticed him. Did a double take. Hey, that's the guy from last night. The one who couldn't afford. He stopped. Realization slowly hit. James emerged from the office. Walked directly to Keanu. Mr. Reeves, we're almost done. Just need your signature on the final documents. Mr. Reeves? Brad repeated. His face went white. Wait, you're the client. Keanu met his gaze. Come, I'm the client. Oh shit. Oh shit. You're Keanu Reeves. The actor. I'm an actor. Also a person you treated with contempt last night. Assumed I couldn't afford to be here. Told me to go to a Toyota dealership. Brad looked like he might be sick. The other salespeople realized what was happening. They looked uncomfortable. Scared. Robert Preston emerged from the office. Saw Keanu. His smile faltered. Mr. Reeves, this is an honor. I didn't realize you were the client. You didn't realize because I was dressed in a leather jacket and motorcycle boots. Didn't look like your typical client. So your staff mocked me. Treated me like I didn't deserve to be here. That says a lot about your business. Robert looked at Brad. Is this true? Brad couldn't meet his eyes. I didn't know who he was. That makes it worse. Not better. You treated him badly because you assumed he was ordinary. That's unacceptable. Keanu intervened. It's not just about me. I check your reviews. This is a pattern. People complain about snobbish treatment, about being judged by appearance. It's a cultural problem. The paperwork was completed by 4 p.m., $15 million wire transferred. All 47 cars now belonged to Keanu Reeves. Titles being processed. Keys handed over. It was an unprecedented transaction. Robert was elated. 15 million in one day, but also puzzled. Mr. Reeves, if I may ask, what do you plan to do with 47 Lamborghinis? I'm donating them. Donating? To whom? Miami Youth Auto Skills Program, a nonprofit teaching kids from low-income neighborhoods to be mechanics. They'll get the cars, use them for training, give students hands-on practice with real high-end vehicles. When training's complete, the cars will be sold. Proceeds fund the program. Robert was stunned. You're donating $15 million worth of cars. I don't value them. They're just cars. But for those kids, they could be life-changing. A chance to learn real skills, build careers, support families. That's a better use. Silence in the room. Even Brad looked humbled. Keanu turned to James. Can you coordinate with the charity? Arrange transport of the cars to their facility? I'm on it. Keanu then addressed Robert. One more thing. I want to buy this dealership. Robert blinked. The dealership? The building itself? The business? The entire operation? Name your price. Robert was confused. The dealership's not for sale. It's part of a larger group. Lux Automotive Group. I own 5 dealerships across Florida. Then sell me this one. If money's an issue, I'll pay fairly. Name a number. Robert thought about it. This dealership was profitable, but also problematic. Complaints. Bad reviews. High staff turnover. Maybe this was an opportunity. 20 million. Deal. James, can you handle it? James nodded. I'll get legal working on it. Take a few weeks to finalize, but we can make it happen. Robert couldn't believe it. $35 million in one day. Inventory and dealership. This was insane, but legitimate insanity. All right, we have a deal. They shook hands. Began due diligence. Legal reviews. Financial audits. All the standard procedure for a business acquisition. Within 3 weeks, the deal closed. Keanu Reeves now owned Prestigio Exotics. His first action as owner was meeting with staff. He gathered everyone. Salespeople, mechanics, administration, detailers. About 20 people total. Stood before them. Hello, everyone. I am Keanu Reeves. As you all know, I've purchased this dealership. I want to explain why and what's changing. 3 weeks ago, I walked in here, dressed in a leather jacket and motorcycle boots. Just off a long ride. I was mocked, dismissed, told I didn't belong. That's unacceptable. Not just because it happened to me, but because it's a pattern. Check the reviews. People complain about the same treatment. This is a culture that needs changing. That's why I'm here. The staff was quiet, nervous. Brad especially looked terrible. I'm making changes. Immediately. First, Brad Miller, you're fired. Effective now. You treated me with contempt. Treated other customers the same way. It ends. Pack your desk. Leave today. Brad paled. Mr. Reeves, I'm sorry. I didn't know. You're not sorry because you treated me badly. You're sorry because I turned out to be rich. That makes it worse. If you didn't know who I was, you should have still treated me with respect. Leave. Brad gathered his things. Left without another word. The room was silent. Keanu continued. The rest of you, here are the new policies. First, every customer is treated with respect. Everyone, regardless of how they're dressed, how they speak, what they drive. If someone walks into this dealership, they deserve courtesy. Second, no more aggressive sales tactics. No pushchupseging. No making customers uncomfortable. We educate. We present options. We let them decide. Third, we're starting a community program. One day a month, we bring in local schools. Give students tours. Show them the engineering. Inspire interest in cars and mechanical skills. We make this place a community resource, not just a business. He paused, looking at each face. Fourth, salaries are being reviewed. I want to know everyone's earning a fair wage. If not, we adjust. I'm also instituting benefits. Healthcare, paid time off, professional development opportunities. We treat our people well. Fifth, the culture changes. If anyone witnesses or experiences discrimination, snobbery, disrespect, there's an anonymous hotline for reporting. Zero tolerance. Everyone clear? The staff nodded. Some looked relieved, others scared, but everyone understood. This was a different operation now. Keanu then arranged a meeting with Miami Youth Auto Skills Program. Met with their director, a woman named Teresa Garcia. She was in her 50s, had spent her career in youth education. Passionate, dedicated, exhausted from years of fighting for funding. Mr. Reeves, I can't express how grateful we are. 47 Lamborghinis. This changes everything. How will you use them? We'll dismantle several. Give students understanding of internal components. High-performance engines. Advanced electronics. Things they'd never get access to otherwise. Other cars will use for hands-on repair projects. Maintenance. Restoration. Real skills. When training's complete, we'll sell the cars. Find collectors, enthusiasts. The proceeds fund the program for years. Maybe decades. That's exactly what I hoped. What else do you need? Tools? Equipment? Space? All of the above. Our current facility is small. We could serve twice as many students if we had more space. And advanced diagnostic equipment would be incredible. Keanu made notes. Let's work on that. James will be in touch. We'll figure out what can be done. Teresa started crying. Why are you doing this? Most people in your position don't care. I care because I've had opportunities. Luck. Right circumstances at the right time. These kids deserve the same chances. If I can help open doors, it's not generosity. It's responsibility. The story leaked. A reporter from local news learned about the massive Lamborghini purchase. Dug deeper. Discovered Keanu's involvement. The story exploded. Actor Keanu Reeves buys $15 million in Lamborghinis. Donates all to charity. It hit national news. Then international. Everyone wanted interviews. Keanu declined most, but agreed to one. Local news station. Wanted to center the Youth Auto Skills Program. Not himself. The reporter, a young woman named Sofia Rodriguez, met him at the program's facility. Mr. Reeves, thank you for your time. This is an amazing story. Can you walk us through what happened? Keanu explained. The dealership, the contempt, the decision to buy the inventory, the donation, the dealership acquisition, the changes he'd made. Sophia listened, then asked, some say this is revenge. That you punish the dealership for treating you badly. Is that fair? It's not about revenge. It's about accountability. If a business treats customers with contempt, there should be consequences. I happen to have the resources to create those consequences and turn them into something positive. The cars now serve a purpose. These students get opportunities. That's a win. The salesperson who mocked you, Brad Miller, was fired. Do you feel bad about that? No. He chose how he treated people. Choices have consequences. He treated multiple customers badly. Not just me. He was a toxic part of a toxic culture. Removing him was necessary. What do you want people to take from this? That appearances are deceiving. That everyone deserves respect. And that wealth carries responsibility. I can buy 47 Lamborghinis. But not for show. To help. That's what money should do. The interview went viral. Millions of views. Social media exploded. Hashtag respect, everyone trended. People shared their own stories of being underestimated. Dismissed. Treated with contempt based on appearance. The conversation was bigger than cars. It was about dignity. About humanity. About the systemic disrespect that happened too often. Other high-end businesses took note. Started reviewing their customer treatment. Retraining staff. Some because they genuinely wanted to improve. Others because they feared the PR nightmare. Either way, the effect was positive. Brad Miller, the fired salesperson, gave his own interview, trying to defend himself. It's not fair. I was doing my job, protecting the dealership from window shoppers. How was I supposed to know he was Keanu Reeves? But public opinion was against him. People pointed out, exactly. How could you know? That's why you should have treated him with respect regardless. Brad struggled to find new work. His reputation was destroyed. Every employer Googled him, found the story, declined his application. He'd made himself unemployable. Meanwhile, Prestigio Exotics under new management thrived. Word spread about the culture shift, about the respectful treatment. Customers came specifically because they'd heard about the changes. Sales increased, not from aggressive tactics, but from reputation. People wanted to do business with a place that valued them. 6 months after the donation, Keanu visited the Youth Auto Skills Program. Saw students working on the Lamborghinis. Their faces were concentrated, hands confident. These weren't just kids. These were future professionals, learning skills that would change their lives. One student, a 17-year-old named Marcos, approached Keanu. "Mr. Reeves, I want to say thank you. Before this program, I had nothing. No prospects. My neighborhood, there aren't many options. But now I'm learning. I'll have a career. I'll have a future. What do you plan to do after graduation? Work in a shop. Save money. Maybe open my own shop one day. Show other kids in my neighborhood they can do it too." That's a beautiful goal. If you need help, reach out. We can assist with business planning, startup funds, whatever you need. Marcos looked stunned. You do that. You're doing the work. You're showing commitment. Helping you succeed isn't charity. It's investment. The conversation stayed with Keanu. This was the core of it. Not just giving, but investing. In people, in potential, in the possibility that someone with the right resources could become anyone. A year after the incident, Keanu took stock. The Youth Auto Skills Program had doubled enrollment. 100 students now, with a waiting list. Proceeds from selling the donated Lamborghinis had helped them expand. Lease a larger facility. Buy more equipment. Hire more instructors. Graduates were finding jobs, starting careers, supporting families. One had even opened his own shop. It was Marcos. Keanu had helped with startup costs, business consulting. Now Marcos' shop was thriving, hiring more youth from the neighborhood, creating more opportunities. The cycle continued. Prestigio Exotics was stable, profitable. Staff was happy. Turnover was low. Customer reviews had improved dramatically. The culture was different, warmer, more inclusive. Keanu visited occasionally, checked on things, made sure the changes held. He didn't micromanage, hired a good general manager, trusted the team. But he made it clear, standards were non-negotiable. Respect was not optional. The social impact from the story continued too. Other dealerships, other high-end businesses retrained staff, changed policies. Not all of them, but enough to move the needle, to make a small difference in how customers were treated. 2 years after the incident, Keanu encountered Brad Miller unexpectedly. In a coffee shop in Miami. Brad looked older, worn. He was working as a barista. Uniform, minimum wage. Far cry from high-end car salesman. Their eyes met. Brad froze. Didn't know what to do. Keanu approached the counter. "Black coffee, please." "Sure thing." Brad's voice was quiet, humbled. He made the coffee, hands trembling slightly. Handed it to Keanu. "This is on me. No charge." "You don't have to do that." "I want to. It's the least I can do." "Mr. Reeves, I know an apology won't fix it. But I'm sorry. About how I treated you. About my attitude. All of it. I was arrogant. Snobbish. Wrong." Keanu studied him. Saw genuine remorse. "What have you learned?" "That how you treat people matters. More than money. More than status. I lost everything because I forgot that. Now I know. Everyone who comes through that door, I treat them with respect. Rich. Poor. Doesn't matter. It's the lesson. Good lesson. Hard way to learn it. But good. Will you ever forgive me?" Keanu paused. "Forgiveness isn't mine to give. You're on not just me, but other customers. People who didn't have the power to respond. Work on forgiving yourself. Treat people better. Be better. That's what matters." Brad nodded. "I'm trying. Every day I'm trying." Keanu took the coffee. Left a $20 tip. Keep trying. 5 years after the incident, the Youth Auto Skills Program was considered a model. Other cities were copying it, opening similar programs, training youth in mechanical skills, giving them paths out of poverty. Keanu's donation had become a catalyst, not just for one program, but for a movement. Prestigio Exotics thrived, had become known not just for its cars, but for its culture, for its inclusivity. People went there specifically for the experience, to be treated with dignity. It was branded, and it was profitable. The story had become a case study. In business schools, they taught it as an example of corporate responsibility, about the impact of individual choices, about the power of turning negative into positive. Keanu, in an interview celebrating the 5th anniversary, reflected on all. It started as a moment of frustration, being turned away at a dealership door. I could have let it go. Most people would. But something about it felt symbolic, about a larger problem. So I acted, not from revenge, but from a desire to create change, to prove a point. The cars were just a means. The real purpose was about dignity, about respect, about showing that appearance doesn't define worth. I'm glad it resonated, glad it created ripples. But the real credit goes to the students, who took the opportunity and made something of it. They're the real heroes, not me. 7 years after the donation, Teresa Garcia, director of the Youth Auto Skills Program, invited Keanu to a special event, the graduation of their 100th student. A milestone. Keanu attended. The ceremony was held in the program's new facility. Keanu had helped fund it. Spacious, state-of-the-art, filled with students, families, faculty. Graduates one by one took the stage, received their certificates, shared their plans. Many already had job offers. Some were starting their own businesses. One was going to college. Engineering. Choices that wouldn't have been possible without the program. The 100th graduate was a young woman named Isabel. She took the microphone. I want to thank the Youth Auto Skills Program for believing in me, for teaching me, for giving me a chance. And I want to thank Keanu Reeves. His donation made this possible. Not just for me, but for 100 of us. For hundreds more who will come. He didn't just give cars. He gave futures. Thank you, Mr. Reeves, for showing us that kindness matters, that generosity matters, that we matter. Keanu stood, applauded, not for himself, but for her, for all of them. They were the ones who'd done the work, who'd turned opportunity into achievement. He just opened a door. They walked through it. After the ceremony, Teresa pulled him aside. Keanu, I need to tell you something. We've received a major grant opportunity. A national organization wants to replicate our model in 10 cities. They'll fund all of it. Because of our success here. Because of you. That's incredible. 10 cities. That's thousands of kids. It's your legacy, not the acting, not the films. This, the lives you changed, the futures you helped build. This is what remains. 10 years after that day, at the Lamborghini dealership, Keanu sat in the Youth Auto Skills Program facility, quietly watching students work. It had grown dramatically. 150 students now. In Miami alone, a dozen other programs had opened across the country, all using the same model, all inspired by that donation 10 years ago. A young student, maybe 15, approached him. You're Keanu, right? The man who gave the cars. That's me. Thank you. I wouldn't be here without it. My family can't afford training. This gave me a chance. What do you plan to do after? I want to work on electric vehicles. Teslas. Stuff like that. The future of transportation. Maybe one day, I'll design my own systems. That's a beautiful goal. Keep working. Keep learning. You'll get there. The student ran back to his workbench. Keanu watched, thought about the journey. Started with arrogance, with contempt, turned into opportunity, into change, into legacy. It was never about the cars. Never was. It was about respect, about dignity, about recognizing that everyone deserves a chance, regardless of where they start, about using resources to lift others. Not for show, but for purpose. That was the lesson, the one he hoped continued to resonate. Long after the cars were sold, the programs completed, the story forgotten, because the real impact wasn't in the action. It was in the principle, in the example, in demonstrating that another way was possible. That kindness could be stronger than cruelty. That generosity could last longer than greed. That one choice, made with intention, could ripple forward infinitely, turning into waves that touched shores never seen, helping people never met, building worlds no one expected. That was the point. The whole point. The only thing that really mattered. 10 years was just the beginning. The story continued to unfold in ways Keanu never anticipated. The ripple effects kept spreading, touching lives in distant places, creating connections he couldn't have imagined that night. He walked into Prestigio Exotics. Marcos, the first student who'd approached Keanu, had built his auto shop into a small empire. 3 locations now across Miami. Employed 27 people, all from the same neighborhoods he'd come from. But it wasn't just about business. Marcos had started his own scholarship program, paid for 5 students a year to attend the Youth Auto Skills program, created a pipeline. Kids he'd grown up with, kids who reminded him of himself at 17. Keanu visited Marcos's flagship shop on a Tuesday afternoon, unannounced, just wanted to see how things were going. The shop was busy, 6 bays, all occupied, mechanics working efficiently, the sound of air tools, the smell of motor oil, organized chaos. Marcos saw him, dropped what he was doing, came over, wiping his hands on a rag. "Mr. Reeves, man, you should have told me you were coming. I would have cleaned up. This is perfect. Real. How's business?" "Incredible. We're booked 3 weeks out. Just hired 2 more mechanics. Both graduates from the program." He gestured to a young woman working on a BMW. "That's Diana, top of her class last year. She's already better than mechanics with 10 years experience." That's the point. Training matters. Skills matter. They walked through the shop. Marcos showed him the operation, the equipment, the systems, the culture he'd built. "I remembered everything you taught me. Not just about business. About people. Every person who works here, I treat them right. Fair wages, benefits, respect. And you know what? They stay. Low turnover. High morale. Turns out when you treat people well, they do good work." "Revolutionary concept," Keanu said with a smile. "Right? Who knew?" Marcos laughed. Then his expression turned serious. "I got approached last month. Big corporate chain. They want to buy me out. Franchise my name. Open Marcos Auto across the state. They're offering serious money. What did you say?" I said no, because it's not about the money. It's about the mission. If I franchise, I lose control. Can't guarantee they'll hire from the program. Can't guarantee they'll treat employees right. The money's tempting, but it's not worth compromising what we built. Keanu felt pride swell in his chest. That's wisdom. That's maturity. You learned the right lessons. I learned from the best. At Prestigio Exotics, the transformation had become permanent. The new general manager, a woman named Patricia Chun, had been running operations for 8 years. Former Mercedes executive. Keanu had poached her specifically because she had a reputation for ethical leadership, building positive workplace cultures. Under Patricia's leadership, the dealership had become one of the top-performing Lamborghini dealers in the country. Not through aggressive sales, through reputation, word of mouth, customer experience. People traveled from other states to buy there, not just for the cars, for how they were treated. Patricia had expanded the community program Keanu started. Now, they hosted events twice a month, brought in schools, veterans groups, charitable organizations, gave tours, let people sit in cars they'd never afford, created moments of joy and inspiration. The marketing value was immeasurable, but that wasn't why they did it. They did it because it was right. One Saturday, they hosted a group from a local foster care program. 23 kids, ages 8 to 17. Many had never seen a Lamborghini in person. Patricia and her team spent 3 hours with them, explained the engineering, let them sit in the driver's seats, took photos, made them feel special. Keanu showed up halfway through. He'd been in Miami for other business. Heard about the event. Came by. The kids recognized him. Some freaked out. "That's John Wick." One girl, maybe 12, approached shyly. "Are you really Keanu Reeves?" "I really am. My foster mom loves your movies. She says you're the nicest person in Hollywood." "Is that true?" "I try to be kind. Don't always succeed, but I try. Can I take a picture with you?" She won't believe me otherwise. They took the picture. Then Keanu spent the next hour with the group. Answer questions. Not about movies. About life. About choices. About how you treat people. One of the older kids, a 17-year-old named Deshaun, asked, "Is it true you bought this whole place because they were rude to you?" It's true. That's some boss-level revenge. It wasn't revenge. It was a lesson. About not judging people. About treating everyone with dignity. They judged me by my clothes. Made assumptions. That's wrong. I had the resources to show them it was wrong. To turn their mistake into something positive. But you also got them fired, right? The dude who dissed you. I fired one person. Because his behavior was a pattern. He treated many customers badly. Not just me. But I also kept everyone else employed. Improved their wages. Their benefits. Changed the culture. It wasn't about punishment. It was about correction. Deshaun thought about that. So you can be tough and fair at the same time. Exactly. Consequences for bad behavior. Support for good behavior. That's how you build something that lasts. The Youth Auto Skills program had grown beyond Teresa Garcia's wildest dreams. The Miami location now served 300 students annually. The 10 programs in other cities were thriving. Boston, Chicago, Atlanta, Phoenix, Seattle, Portland, Detroit, Philadelphia, Houston, Denver, each adapting the model to local needs, but maintaining core principles. Hands-on training, real-world skills, career pathways. A national foundation had formed, the Reeves Automotive Education Foundation, named after Keanu despite his protests. The foundation coordinated between programs, shared best practices, raised funds, advocated for policy changes supporting vocational education. Teresa had become the foundation's executive director. She'd built a team, secured major grants, corporate partnerships, government funding. The foundation now had an annual budget of $40 million, served over 2,000 students a year across all locations. But Teresa never forgot where it started. That donation, those 47 Lamborghinis, the moment that changed everything. She kept a photo in her office. Keanu standing with the first class of students. Taken 11 years ago. Everyone in that photo had graduated. All were employed. 3 had started their own businesses. 1 was teaching at the program now. Giving back. Keanu visited the foundation's national office in Miami. Met with Teresa and her team. They walked him through their growth, their impact metrics, their future plans. "We want to expand to 50 cities in 5 years, Teresa explained. Serve 10,000 students annually. We have a model. We have the funding pipeline. We just need to execute. What do you need from me? Honestly, you've already given enough. The initial donation, the dealership support, your name lending credibility. But if you're offering, we could use help with one thing." "What's that?" "We want to create a scholarship endowment, specifically for students who complete the program and want to pursue engineering degrees. Automotive engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering for EV systems. Create a path from our program to 4-year universities. Break the ceiling." How much are we talking? To fully fund it? To make it self-sustaining through investment returns? $50 million. Keanu didn't hesitate. Done. James will work out the details. Let's make it happen. Teresa stared. Just like that? $50 million. Just like that. These kids deserve every opportunity. If money removes barriers, that's money well spent. Brad Miller's story had taken an unexpected turn. After 2 years as a barista, struggling with unemployment and shame, he'd hit bottom. Drinking too much. Depressed. Angry at the world. Angry at himself. One night, drunk and desperate, he'd ended up at a 12-step meeting. AA didn't really want to be there, but had nowhere else to go. The meeting changed something. Not immediately, not dramatically, but planted a seed. He kept going, started working the steps, started taking responsibility for his choices, for the person he'd been, for the damage he'd caused. His sponsor, a guy named Ron, was a former executive who'd lost everything to addiction. "The thing about rock bottom," Ron told him, "is that it's the best place to build from, because you can't go lower, only up." Brad got sober, stayed sober, started rebuilding. Not his career. That was gone. But himself. his character, his understanding of what mattered. He got a job in nonprofit, helping other people in recovery find employment. The work was hard. The pay was terrible, but it was meaningful. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was contributing something positive. 5 years after being fired, Brad wrote a letter to Keanu, not asking for anything, not seeking forgiveness, just acknowledging, explaining his journey, taking full responsibility, expressing gratitude for the wake-up call. I was a terrible person, he wrote. Arrogant, cruel, blind to my own toxicity. Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to look at myself, to see what I'd become. The years since have been the hardest of my life, but also the most growth I've ever experienced. I'm not the same person. I'll never be that person again. Thank you for holding me accountable. Thank you for not letting me continue down that path. Thank you for the harsh mercy of consequences. Keanu read the letter twice. He didn't respond. Didn't feel he needed to. Brad wasn't seeking response, just offering truth. But Keanu kept the letter, filed it away, because it represented something important. That people could change. That consequences could catalyze growth. That redemption, while not guaranteed, was possible. The broader cultural impact continued. The story had become legendary, a modern parable, taught in business ethics classes, discussed in leadership seminars, written about in case studies. The core lesson, treat everyone with respect regardless of appearance, had resonated globally. But perhaps more importantly, it had sparked a movement in the luxury retail industry. High-end dealerships, boutiques, hotels, restaurants started actively training staff on inclusive customer service. Not just because it was right, but because the Keanu story had shown the reputational risk of doing otherwise. A consulting firm, Dignity Retail Solutions, had been founded specifically to address this. They worked with luxury brands to audit their customer experience, identify bias in staff behavior, implement training programs. Their founder, a former Nordstrom executive named Jennifer Chu, credited the Keanu story as inspiration. What Keanu did was hold up a mirror, Jennifer explained in a TED Talk that got 3 million views. He showed the luxury industry what we'd become. Gatekeepers instead of service providers. Judges instead of hosts. His response, buying the dealership and transforming it, proved that another model was possible. That you could maintain excellence while embracing inclusivity. That respect and luxury weren't contradictory. We've been helping brands implement that model ever since. 12 years after the incident, Keanu was invited to speak at the Automotive Industry Leadership Conference in Detroit. 5,000 attendees, executives from manufacturers, dealerships, suppliers, tech companies. The theme was the future of automotive retail. He almost declined. Public speaking wasn't his favorite, but his publicist convinced him. This industry needs to hear from you. You changed it, whether you meant to or not. He accepted, prepared remarks, stood on stage in front of thousands. 12 years ago, I walked into a Lamborghini dealership dressed in a leather jacket and motorcycle boots. I was mocked, dismissed, told I didn't belong. That moment changed my understanding of how business treats people, how assumptions damage, how exclusivity, when taken too far, becomes cruelty. He paused, let land. I responded by buying their inventory, donating it to a youth training program, eventually buying the dealership itself. Some called it revenge. I called it accountability, creating consequences for harmful behavior, and more importantly, redirecting resources towards something meaningful. The ripple effect surprised me. That one donation, those 47 cars, created a national movement in automotive education. Over 2,000 young people a year now getting training they wouldn't have otherwise. Hundreds have started careers. Dozens have started businesses. Several are working in this industry. Maybe some are in this room. He looked around. But beyond the program, something else happened. The story sparked a conversation about dignity, about respect, about who belongs in our spaces. Many of you in this room have changed your operations because of it. Retrained staff, revised policies, created more welcoming environments. That wasn't me. That was you, choosing to do better. The automotive industry is transforming. electric vehicles, autonomous driving, direct-to-consumer sales models. Everything's changing. But one thing shouldn't change: how we treat people. That should be constant. Excellence in service. Dignity for every customer. Creating experiences that honor humanity, not just transactions. The future of automotive retail isn't just about technology. It's about values. About building businesses that reflect our best selves, not our worst instincts. That's the challenge. That's the opportunity. I believe this industry can meet it, because I've seen it happen. One dealership at a time. One interaction at a time. One choice at a time. The applause was long. Sustained. Standing ovation. Not for him. For what he represented. For the challenge he'd issued. After the speech, dozens of people approached. Wanted to talk. Share their own stories. How they'd changed their operations. A Toyota dealer from Oregon. We completely revised our customer service training. Added modules on implicit bias. On treating every person with dignity. Our customer satisfaction scores went up 30%. A BMW dealer from Texas. We start a program like yours. Partner with local community college. Train students in our service department. Give them real experience. Pay them. Hired 4 graduates permanently. Best techs we have. A Lexus dealer from California. We dropped all our upscale requirements. Used to require appointments for test drives. Had strict dress codes for our lounge. Made people feel unwelcome. Got rid of all that. Now anyone can walk in. Anyone can test drive. Anyone can use our amenities. And you know what? Sales increased. Turns out when you welcome everyone, more people come. Story after story. Evidence that change was possible. That it was happening. That one person's choice on one night in one dealership had created waves still crashing on shores. 15 years after the incident, Keanu returned to that original Prestigio Exotics location. It looked different. The exterior had been renovated. More glass. More open. Inviting. The sign had changed too. Still Prestigio Exotics, but with a tagline underneath. Where everyone belongs. He walked in. Unannounced. Just wanted to see it. The showroom was busy. Customers browsing. Families. Young people. Older people. Diverse crowd. Different from the exclusive clientele of 15 years ago. A salesperson approached. Young guy, maybe 25. Welcome to Prestigio. My name's Kevin. How can I help you today? Just looking. Beautiful cars. They really are. Feel free to explore. Sit in anything you'd like. If you have questions, I'm here. No pressure. The tone was genuine. Warm. No judgment in his eyes when he looked at Keanu's casual clothes. No assessment of worth based on appearance. Just welcome. Keanu smiled. Actually, I used to own this place. Kevin's eyes widened. Wait, you're Keanu Reeves. Oh man, this is wild. You're like legendary here. Your picture's in the break room. Patricia tells your story to every new hire. About how you bought the place. Changed everything. Created the culture we have now. How long have you been here? 3 years. Best job I've ever had. Patricia's an amazing boss. Fair. Supportive. Actually cares about us. And the culture, it's real. We genuinely try to make everyone feel welcome. Rich, poor, doesn't matter. Everyone gets the same treatment. That's good to hear. That it's lasted. It's more than lasted. It's who we are. I worked at another luxury dealership before this. It was toxic. Snobby. Competitive in a bad way. Here, we're a team. We help each other. We help customers. It's night and day. Patricia emerged from her office. Saw Keanu. Her face lit up. Keanu, what are you doing here? You should have called. Wanted to surprise you. See how things are going. Going great. Come to my office. I'll show you the numbers. They sat in her office. She pulled up reports on her computer. Revenue's up 18% year over year. Customer satisfaction is 94%. Staff retention is 87%, which is unheard of in this industry. We're the number 3 Lamborghini dealer in North America. But more importantly, we're the number 1 in customer experience scores. Corporate uses us as a model. That's incredible, Patricia. You've done amazing work. I just maintained what you started. The foundation was there. I built on it. But Keanu, there's something else. Something I wanted to talk to you about. What's that? I've been approached by Lamborghini Corporate. They wanted to head up a new initiative. transforming customer experience across all North American dealerships. It's a huge opportunity, but it means leaving here. I wanted to get your thoughts before deciding. Keanu didn't hesitate. Take it. Absolutely take it. You're not leaving. You're expanding, taking what we built here and multiplying it across the network. That's exactly what should happen. You're sure? This place has been my life for 8 years. And now it's time to share that life with more people. To create more places like this, we'll find a great replacement. Someone who believes in the mission. The culture's strong enough now. It'll survive the transition. Take the job, Patricia. Change the industry. She smiled, nodded. Okay, I'll do it. 18 years after the incident, the Reeves Automotive Education Foundation served 8,000 students annually across 35 cities. The endowment Keanu had created generated enough income to send 100 students a year to 4-year engineering programs. Fully funded. Tuition, books, housing, everything. The first cohort of scholarship recipients had graduated. 12 students. All employed. Several at major automotive companies. Ford, GM, Tesla, Rivian. One had been hired by Lamborghini itself, working in their R&D department in Italy, designing the next generation of supercars. Her name was Ashley Chun, 26 years old. Started in the Miami Youth Auto Skills Program at 16. Fell in love with automotive engineering. Used the Reeves Scholarship to attend MIT. Graduated top of her class. Now living her dream. Keanu was invited to Italy for a Lamborghini event. Corporate wanted to honor him for his impact on the brand. He almost declined, but they mentioned Ashley would be there, that she wanted to thank him. So he went. The event was at Lamborghini's Sant'Agata Bolognese headquarters. Beautiful facility. History everywhere. Racing heritage. Engineering excellence. Ashley was giving a presentation about electric supercar development. Her passion was obvious. Her knowledge deep. After her presentation, she found Keanu in the crowd. Mr. Reeves, I can't believe you're here. Wouldn't have missed it. Your presentation was brilliant. Thank you. And thank you for everything. The program, the scholarship, this career. None of it would have been possible without you. You did the work. You had the talent. I just removed barriers. You did more than that. You created a path. Showed people like me that we belonged in spaces we'd been told we didn't. That our dreams weren't impossible. That mattered. It still matters. What's next for you? I want to lead a team eventually. Design a full vehicle. Something revolutionary. Electric. Sustainable. But still maintaining that Lamborghini soul. Speed. Beauty. Passion. Proving you can have performance without compromise. You'll do it. I have no doubt. And when I do, I'm naming it after you. The Lamborghini Reeves. Has a nice ring. Keanu laughed. I'm honored. But name it after yourself. You'll be the one who created it. 20 years after that night at Prestigio Exotics, Keanu was 78 years old. Still acting occasionally. Still involved in his businesses. Still quietly giving to causes he believed in. The Lamborghini story had become part of his legend. Mentioned in every profile. Every retrospective. Sometimes he was tired talking about it. But he understood why it mattered to people. It wasn't about cars. It was about values. About a choice to turn hurt into help. About using power for good. He was invited to Miami for a special anniversary event. 20 years of the Youth Auto Skills Program. They'd planned a huge celebration. Wanted him as guest of honor. He tried to decline. Let it be about them, not him. But Teresa insisted. Keanu, you started this. Your presence matters. Please come. So he went. The event was held at the program's main facility. The building he'd helped fund years ago. Now expanded twice. State-of-the-art training center. 300 people attended. Current students, alumni, staff, board members, community leaders. Teresa gave a speech, chronicling the 20-year journey. From 47 donated Lamborghinis to a national foundation. From 50 students a year to 8,000. From one city to 35. From a dream to a movement. None of this would exist, she said, without Keanu Reeves. Not just his financial support, though that was enormous, but his belief, his vision, his understanding that every person deserves dignity, deserves opportunity, deserves a chance to build something meaningful with their lives. He saw possibility where others saw charity. He built infrastructure where others would have just written a check. He changed lives. Thousands of lives. That's legacy. That's impact. That's what we celebrate tonight. Then they brought out a surprise. A car, covered in a tarp, rolled onto the stage. Teresa gestured to Keanu. Come up here. You need to see this. He walked to the stage. Confused. They pulled off the tarp. It was a Lamborghini, but modified, customized. Electric powertrain, sustainable materials, cutting-edge engineering, and a plaque on the dashboard. The Reeves Edition, built by program alumni. In gratitude, Keanu was speechless. You built this. We did. Ashley Chin stepped forward. She'd flown in from Italy. 12 of us. All program graduates. All working in automotive now. We collaborated remotely. Each contributed our expertise. Took us 2 years, but we wanted to show you what we'd become. What your investment created. Not just mechanics. Engineers. Designers. Innovators. Building the future. Tears rolled down Keanu's face. He wasn't usually emotional in public, but this broke through his defenses. This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever done for me. You gave us cars to learn on. We gave you one back. Seems fair. The room erupted in applause. Keanu stood there, looking at the car, but seeing beyond it, seeing the faces of thousands of students, the hours of training, the skills developed, the careers launched, the family supported, the cycles broken, all because one night, 20 years ago, he'd been treated with contempt at a dealership door. And instead of walking away, he'd turned it into something larger than himself. That was the real story. Not revenge, not even justice, but transformation. Taking the worst of human behavior, judgment, cruelty, exclusion, and responding with the best. Dignity, opportunity, investment in human potential. Creating systems that lasted, that grew, that continued, changing lives long after the initial action was forgotten. As he stood there, surrounded by people whose lives he'd touched, Keanu understood something fundamental. This was why we're here. Not to accumulate, not to dominate, not to prove our superiority, but to lift, to open doors, to create paths, to see potential in others and give it room to flourish. The cars were never the point. They never were. They were just tools, means to an end. The point was always the people, the students, the second chances, the dreams realized, the futures built. That was wealth, true wealth, the kind that multiplied instead of diminished, the kind that echoed forward into generations yet unborn. 20 years, 8,000 students, hundreds of careers, dozens of businesses, countless families changed. And it all started with a simple choice. To not accept disrespect, to demand better, to use resources for purpose, to believe that one person's action could matter. It did matter. It still mattered. It would always matter. Because the story wasn't finished. It never would be. As long as students kept enrolling. As long as graduates kept succeeding. As long as the next generation learned that their worth wasn't determined by where they came from, but by what they chose to build. That was legacy. Not the cars, not the buildings, not even the foundation, but the lives. The infinite, unpredictable, beautiful cascade of lives touched and changed and elevated. That was everything. That was enough. That was more than enough. That was immortality of the kind that actually mattered.